Hello, happy Tuesday, everyone. I hope you had a great long holiday weekend. If you're joining me, let me know. Say hi. I would love to know you're here. And today we're going to be talking about how to set and reach your goals. So, if you are new here, if you don't know who I am, my name is Kayla Slater. I am a registered dietitian as well as an online plant based dietitian, nutrition, and run coach, and I mostly work with a plant-based runners. And my favorite person to work with, I would say, is marathon runners. So if those of you don't know much about me, I'm also a big marathon runner and training to qualify for Boston. So as I said, if you're joining me, say hi. Let me know who it is as well. I am going live using StreamYard, so make sure to click the link above me to let me know who you are so I know who it is. And we will get started shortly. Also, if you're watching this on replay, just comment below #replay. So, how is everyone's holiday weekend? Let me know in the comments here if you guys had a good weekend or what you did. I hope you guys had some good plant based meals or food. I know I sure did. We went to the beach and then we also had a really great dinner, almost like a last summer kind of cookout kind of thing. At least that's what it kind of felt like. But of course, those of you who know me, I'm in Florida. It always feels like summer. It still feels like summer even in September. So let's get started. I see a couple people on. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So yay. So I'm going live on my page in the group, Facebook group, as well as YouTube. So you can watch me there. I will also be talking about the same thing or post this episode on my podcast. So that's another way to listen to me or to get more information as well. So, as I said, let's get into it. We're going to be talking about how to set and reach your goals. So, if you have any goals, maybe future running goals, or maybe you are somebody that's new to plant based nutrition in running and you just want to create healthy, sustainable goals, I hear a lot when I talk to people that they're like, I just want to create healthier behaviors and healthier habits. And maybe you may also have a big running goal. Maybe that's not, maybe not this fall, but maybe it's for next year you'd like to run a marathon. So whatever that goal is, wherever you are, um, this information will definitely help you for that. So setting goals, I wanted to talk about setting goals. So it's important to first, when we're talking about achieving and creating healthier habits, it's important to set goals. But I'm also going to talk about here in a little bit as well, more about what is actually more important than goals and what we should be actually focusing on. But we still want to set a goal. We still want to, make sure we know what is the goal. What do we really want to achieve? What is the thing that we want to accomplish? What would make us feel satisfied? What would make us feel complete? What makes us feel like we are reaching our full potential as human beings? So, making sure you set a goal. Number one, if you do set a goal, make sure it is a SMART goal. It's important to no, not just make a goal and say you're going to do something, but you want to make it smart. You want to make it time based, realistic, and all of those things measurable. And you don't want to just say a goal and not really have a plan either. So we're going to talk about how you also want to have a plan and all that, but make sure that is a SMART goal. That's the biggest thing. So making sure it is, measurable, specific, measurable, action based, realistic, and also time based. So it's important to make sure that it is a SMART goal, and also make sure to have short and also long term goals. So I have done this with my business, and I actually break it down, and I think, even my clients, I could do this. I haven't really done this with them, For some clients I have, but something for you guys that even you could do as well is, make goals that are 90 days, say it's 90 days. I think it's 90 days, 1 year, and 5 years. Yeah, I think it's broken down like that. So it's good to make goals that are also short term, but also long term. Two, creating habits. So it's also important to start creating habits. This is specifically, well, really, I'll talk about both. So if you're somebody that is, just getting into the lifestyle of running and wanting to be plant-based and wanting to create these healthier, sustainable goals or healthy, sustainable habits, it's important to start creating those habits, to break them down and create those habits by starting to set those small goals. Again, goals should be smart goals again, but setting small goals. And also, you want to have a system or a plan. So, if somebody that is just wanting to have more create more healthier habits, then what you want to do is you want to create those small goals. So maybe let's say you're not getting a lot of sleep. Maybe you are, let's say, not drinking enough water and you drank a lot of soda. So those could be three goals that you could work on. You could work on getting more sleep by going to bed by a certain time, let's say by 10 p.m., having all electronics shut off by 9 p.m., and getting ready for bed, and all of that stuff, just having a good bedtime routine. And so, and then also, right, make sure that it's time based. So say that not only do you want to get to bed by a certain time, but this is what I'm going to do for the next week. So that is just like one example, right? With sleep, something for my marathon runners that would be a good goal is, say you're training for a marathon and you're feeling really sore all the time and you feel like your recovery is not going very well. Maybe you want to make a goal to stretch and foam roll more. So you don't want to just, make a goal. Okay, I'm going to stretch or foam roll. Well, how are you going to do that? So you want to make it smart. And you also want to think about a plan. How am I going to do that? So, I'm going to foam roll and stretch every day for 20 minutes after my runs. And you're going to make sure to put time, right? Make sure to make sure to have that time, planned out for you to be able to have that 20 minutes after your run to make sure you do your stretching and foam rolling. So that is just an example for that as well. But creating habits is really important, I think, for anybody that just wants to create healthier, sustainable habits, or if you're somebody that is, has a big goal and training for a big event, you still, by creating these habits, are going to be really helpful for your performance. And number three that I want to talk about, and we kind of just talked about this a little bit, but focusing on small changes to reach your goal. So I mentioned how to start creating those habits is by creating those small goals. And when I talk about creating these small goals, this is setting goals for a week or 2 weeks and just focusing on those things for those weeks. So small changes. The thing is with small changes is that it may not seem significant. And I see this a lot with working with clients, is that they have a lot of success in these small changes, but it doesn't feel like it. They don't feel like, oh, I didn't really accomplish something that is big. You didn't accomplish that big goal. But by setting these smaller habits and small changes, which I think is so important, and I have all my clients do this, is that's going to help you to reach that bigger goal. Because, and I'll not read this, but I don't know if you've read Atomic Habits. This is where I have gotten it from. but it talks about focusing on systems rather than goals, and also talks about how getting 1% better every day counts for the long run. So you want to progressively get better every single day, and we want to do that by 1%. It gives us too much anxiety of overwhelm if we're trying to do too much. So we want to really make sure that we're creating these small goals, and it also can take us time. So we may not really be able to get there yet because there is a critical threshold. So we have to get past that critical threshold. And especially when you're making new habits and changes, it's going to be really hard. And it's really hard to get to that critical threshold. So what helps that a lot is accountability, having some sort of accountability. And I think I mentioned this in my previous slides. Just having some sort of accountability, whether that's, giving a friend $50 and saying, keep this if I don't do this, or, doing a challenge or something with a friend, or getting a coach, all of those things, right, help that accountability piece, and that can help you as well. But really focusing on those small changes are more important, and also focusing more on the system and the plan rather than that goal. Because if we don't get to that goal, we can feel really disappointed and really, really crushed. And we always want to remember that the journey is what's most important. So during your journey, hopefully you realize that you grow, that you change. I know certainly I have during my journey to qualify for Boston. I definitely have changed as a person as well as an athlete and a runner. And I've learned a lot about my body and just myself, and things that I could strengthen and be better at, and things that I have weaknesses. And again, those are just, things that I can work on and strengthen. So those are the main things that I really wanted to just talk about a little bit here today. So number one, setting goals and is important, and creating, if you do create a goal, make sure to create short as well as long-term goals, and also make it a smart goal. Start creating habits by setting those small goals, and also having a plan and a system in place, because a goal without a plan, right, is just a dream. I'm sure you've heard that before. But also focusing, focus on those small changes to reach your goals, rather than really focusing on the goal itself. So that is what's going to really help you to actually reach your goal, is actually focusing more on that process, focusing more on the system and the plan and things that you can do in order to get there. So let's do an example. So let's set a goal. So let's say I want to be 100% plant-based by let's see, by the end of the year. So by the end of the year, I want to eat 100% plant-based, and I want to run my first, let's say, my first marathon. So we want to make sure this is a SMART goal. So make sure it's specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timeline. So I did make sure it was timeline, right? By the end of the year, making sure it's action based as well. And would we say measurable? So how are we going? We want to also think about, how are we going to measure this? So if I'm going to if I'm going to be 100% plant based, how am I going to measure that? So let's see, how could you measure that? So we can measure that by keeping a food journal. That can be our measurement. Or we can also track it. So this is what I also have clients do, is track their goals. So that's also can help you to measure that as well. And then we want to start creating that habit. So again, create that habit by setting these small goals. So you want to start creating the habit of being plant-based. So, and you want to create a smaller goal based on that. So maybe we want to say, um, a weekly goal that you could focus on is focusing on adding more plant proteins in place of your animal protein. So that would be something that you could start doing, and that would help you to start creating that habit. And then we also talked about how focusing on those small changes is also more important, right? To reach your goals, and focusing on that helps you to focus more on that process, right? Those small, focusing on the small goals rather than the big overall goal, so you don't get overwhelmed. So focus on those small changes. So what we could do, right, is focus on those small goals that I talked about. And those might change every week, but you do want to keep working on those and focusing on those, and focusing on the process, focus on the plan, focus on those small goals, because that's going to help you to reach that bigger goal of being 100% plant based. So you don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to go turkey and go totally plant based. You can just set a goal. Okay, I want to do this, but you also need to have a plan of how you're going to do that. So by setting those small goals, it's helpful to give you some direction, give you a plan, but also start creating that habit. And that is what's going to really make a difference. So again, focusing on the 1%, right? And getting 1% better, rather than, that's what's going to really matter on the long run, rather than getting, so focused on being perfect and, going completely cold turkey. Just take it one step at a time. And that is for really like any goals, or anything that you want to achieve, you can really use this for. So I hope this was helpful. If you guys do have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out. We are doing, why I'm talking about goals and all of this. I know it's not the new year, but we did decide to do a running challenge in the Facebook group. And we're talking about goals. So I thought this week would be a good time to talk about goals. I love for you guys to set a plant-based goal or a running goal of just a month, based on your bigger goal. So what is your monthly goal? Do you have a running mileage goal? What is the goal that you want to achieve for the month? And think about, how are you going to get it? Do you have a roadmap? Do you have a process? Do you have, can you create small goals, or break it up into small goals or small actionable steps or tasks that you can do, to reach your monthly goal? So I encourage you guys to do that and join us, just for fun. And if you are training for a marathon, or if you have a marathon coming up this fall, you could still join in, and let us know what's your running mileage goal for the week, or what is your goal before your marathon. What is something that you want to focus on until then? So yeah, hopefully you guys join us for the challenge. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we will talk soon. Bye.